Alright, hello again everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is April the 4th, 2020, and I decided to sit down and make a little COVID-19 update for everybody. I've had a lot of people ask me various questions from family and friends. Just kind of want to know what's going around in the industry, of course, right now, and more specifically, what my life is like and how it's been impacted and how it is for all of us that are out there still working on the front lines, so to speak, I guess, still flying around at this very peculiar and no doubt precedent-setting time here. So just the slide I have up here, this is a photo that I took the other day. I had flown into Pittsburgh and we were taxiing in, and I could not believe my eyes when I saw this. I mean, these are all these American Airlines planes that are literally parked, two by two, side by side. This is on runway 28 center here, and the crazy thing about this is this is looking out the right side of the airplane. If you were to look to the left side of the airplane, the exact same situation was more or less set up with all these airplanes just sitting on the ground there doing nothing, more or less in storage for the time being. As you all know, the massive impact that the whole COVID outbreak has had on the world's travel demand, let's say, is just it's so profound, and I've never seen anything like this in my life. I am pretty convinced. I mean, this is obviously precedent setting, but I would even venture to say, looking back 20, 30, 40, 50 years or more, really, in the whole of the history of time of civil aviation, or at least like the airlines anyways as we know them. I mean, I don't think you've ever seen anything like this with as many airplanes just not flying as they are right now. So it's definitely an interesting time in the industry. So I've had a lot of questions from family and friends, and a few people on here have asked me some various things. So I thought I would just try to make a quick video and field a few of those, like I said. So first thing people want to know is what is it like at the airports right now when you fly around? Now, obviously the demand has tailed off so much to the point where you walk through these airports. I mean, these are all very big facilities that are normally designed and built to handle thousands and thousands of people a day. It's just the strangest, most eeriest thing to walk around some of these facilities and see a small handful of people in the whole of the terminal. Not only that, all the businesses are closed in there. I mean, there might be like one coffee shop or something here or there open, but you're just used to seeing these places buzz with life, and it's just the weirdest thing to see them as they are, with what little activity is going on in them, as with everything going on right now. So just and you just kind of feel this really weird atmosphere when you're going in and out of the airports. I mean, it's just, the best I can put it is it's a little somber. I think everybody who is traveling just kind of knows what's going on, and of course all the employees know what a bleak outlook it is, at least for the time being, until this whole thing blows over. So just a little bit about what it's like in the airports right now. The other question I've had is people want to know what it's like on the overnights. Now, as you can imagine, most of the time the overnights are great. They're a lot of fun. You're in a new city. There's always something cool to walk to or check out, or some new little food joint to go explore, or just something to keep yourself occupied. But quite literally, we're almost forced to be confined to the rooms right now. Even if you were to go out, there's just not a lot of food options that are open. There's just, people are completely off the streets, and they're not. They're not out in public, obviously, as they normally are, and we're certainly included with that. So by contrast, I mean, the overnights have become a little bit boring. We're spending a whole lot more time just inside of our rooms than we ever have before. And a lot of us have had to start bringing food on our trips, where you were normally, once again, you were used to just being able to get food from anywhere, order from a restaurant, get it from the hotels, whatever. But we're doing a lot more food packing right now, and doing things like DoorDash and Uber Eats and whatnot, just so we can stay in our rooms and limit our exposure. And because there is just not many more option for us other than that, anyways. So other thing people seem to want to know is what's the status on the schedule. So you've probably all read the headlines, and you would know that pretty much every airline everywhere in the world is at least at this point in time for April and probably May, and who knows if it'll even go longer, but they've scaled back their schedules somewhere between like 80 and 90%, which is just insane. So it goes without saying, I mean, the air carriers are having less and less need to keep everybody working, of course, as they're normally used to working. So a lot of companies have offered voluntary leaves of absences. They're kind of scaling back the hours. They're doing everything they can to trim things back, just to survive, really. So as far as the impact to my schedule is concerned, I mean, I had actually worked a pretty normal schedule up through the last month, but moving forward in April, I'm probably going to be flying, maybe a couple times a week, or let's say a couple flights each week, whereas before, we'd operate, let's say a dozen or so in 1 week just as part of my normal schedule, let's say on a 4-day trip. So it gives you a little contrast there about, what things are like as far as the schedules are concerned right now. And people want to seem to want to know what the outlook is moving forward. Now, obviously, it's anybody's best guess as to how long it will take this whole thing to blow over. When or if they get a vaccine, or when they start letting people travel again. I really don't know for sure. I have my best guesses and speculations, and just as I said before, take everything that I'm saying here with a grain of salt. This is like only my opinion, and I am not anybody to really be speculating from a professional standpoint, I guess you could say, or anything. I think you get the point. But I just don't see the demand bouncing back like a rubber ball, so quickly. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that all of our lives get back to normal, much sooner than later, of course. But I think the reality is, there's just been such a big dent put in the whole airline business overall that it's going to take some time for people to warm back up psychologically, to want to come back out to the airports and go flying again. And not only that, the other interesting thing that I see happening is, a lot of business traveler types, they've been kind of forced to continue doing their jobs remotely. So everybody's, figured out how to, keep their business moving and do it, without jumping on an airplane, going somewhere to accomplish X, Y, Z. So, obviously, once they've figured some of these things out, I don't think it's that much further down the road that a light bulb will go off in some manager type's head to say, hey, we don't need to send these business people, out on the road as much as maybe we did before. So I think, that's another very big thing to watch to see, how this all recovers and the speed at which the business comes back, as we were all used to seeing it before. And, I definitely think, there's always going to be like a demand for air travel, of course. It's not like the industry as a whole is going to go away and never come back. There's just, it's such a part of our lives here that we need to have an air travel industry. But, like we said, I think the major question is just like, how fast and how big does it come back to be? And, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more industry consolidation, moving forward through the years. And it'll just be really interesting to watch and see what happens. And, obviously, all of us that are flying professionally, this is, I don't want to say it's nothing new, but I think you kind of get into this line of work knowing that, it is a very cyclical business, and there is ups and there are certainly downs. I think most everybody, that has that understanding, has kind of planned for a rainy day to some extent. That's certainly, been, my style of operation for a long time here. So I'm not super worried, even if things contract and things get a bit more restricted for a period of time. I know, we're all going to survive and things are going to be fine, a long enough time scale. But that's just, like I said, at the end of the day, the golden question is how long it takes to recover is the big one. So. And the very last thing I wanted to leave with you guys is I know there's a lot of folks out there that are doing your flight training right now, and you're probably wondering to yourself, maybe you're midway through your licenses or ratings, and you're like, what the heck, what am I going to do now? Is this even worth, still pursuing as a job? And, I don't know what the future is going to hold for me. And I would tell you guys to, don't give up, keep on trucking towards, training, your goals, your dreams, all this kind of stuff. This day will, or this time certainly will pass. And it was exactly like this for me. I started flight training in 2001, literally, I think, a month before 9/11 had happened. And of course, we saw, everything transpire, from that point on. There was a tremendous downturn in the industry, and it took a lot of the wind out of a lot of the sails of a lot of people. And, a lot of friends that I had at that point in time, they just kind of gave up on their dreams and hopes and everything. But, I was one of those people that chose to stick it out, and I would encourage anybody that is in that same boat right now, stick it out. We've seen this before. It's going to get better. There's going to be brighter days. Like, do not give up. If this is your dream, there will be opportunities for you in the future. It's just, the reality is it might take a little bit longer than you might have thought it would have had you examined this whole career track, maybe a year or 2 or 3 ago or something. So don't get discouraged. Whatever you do, hang in there and keep after it. So I hope everybody is staying healthy and safe out there. If you have any questions or there's any just general things you want to know about the industry right now or what's going on with me and my job and flying airliners, please leave them down in the comment section. And appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll talk again real soon.